What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 5, Episode 5. And what an episode it was. So we are still at Destiny's Madonni event, which is the relaunching or the reopening of her store, her beauty supply store slash salons, Madonni. So Stormy shows up. That's where this episode starts off. Stormy and her husband Courtney show up, and she was the one that was in the gold truck. So as she comes out of the truck, someone comes outside and tells her that she is not allowed to go inside because she was not invited. So Stormy's cool with that. She's like, whatever, I'm here to support. If she doesn't want my support, that's fine. But can I at least leave the flowers? Because Stormy came bearing gifts. She had a beautiful bouquet of pink roses, and she also came with a Gucci purse. So she tells whoever told her that she couldn't come in, she asks her, well, can I leave the flowers here? And I think there was some back and forth about whether or not she could leave the gifts. But then eventually, Destiny changed her mind and sent word that Stormy could come in. So Stormy comes inside the store and she talks to Destiny. She greets Destiny and she tells Destiny how proud she is, that she's here to support because she's all about supporting Black businesses, especially Black women in business, so on and so forth. So she's putting all these accolades out there, just showering her with all these compliments about her accomplishments of being a businesswoman. And Destiny is just looking at her like a complete statue. She's like barely blinking her eyes. You know how Destiny, her eyes get really, really big. So she's just staring at her with her really big eyes, not really saying much. I mean, stiff as a board, just not being responsive at all. So Stormy's like, well, okay, I brought you some gifts. So Destiny didn't even take the gifts. So Stormy had to find a place to put the gifts down. And so that was the end of that interaction. And then Kimmy and Letitia go and talk to Destiny, and they're asking Destiny, what was that all about? And, Destiny tells them that, whatever she said. So then Kimmy was like, well, that was a really good gesture of her to do that for you, right? And Destiny was like, and I'm even more upset now. She says, I'm more upset about the gifts because she said, how can I accept gifts from someone who doesn't even want to put their product in my store because they said that my store was too small and hardly ever open? Okay, so where's the lie, Destiny? Because at the time you were struggling with your store. You even said it yourself that you were barely even open. You had to constantly close your shop, close your store. During regular business hours, you had to constantly close down your store. I don't know if your store is too small. I have no idea. From the looks of it on camera, it looks like it's a pretty small store. So where the hell is the lie? Anyways, so Destiny just not having it with Stormy. So after that, Melody walks in. So Melody walks in with her mother, Miss Vanessa. She greets Destiny. And that very first time, as soon as she walked in, I heard her greet Destiny. She first walks in and Melody says, hey, y'all, like a general greeting to everybody. And then she specifically looks at Destiny and says, hi, Destiny. Destiny is so caught up in her feelings. And, as soon as she saw Melody walk in, she was constantly like no longer there. Like she had just transported to I don't know where because she was just so angry and so pissed off at seeing Melody that she wasn't even paying attention. I bet she couldn't even hear Melody greet her because she was so angry with the blood rushing in her ears that's why she didn't hear her. So Destiny, she's not having it at all. So Melody walks off, she walks off into the distance, and Destiny is still standing in the corner at her own event. She's still standing in the corner pouting. She's not mingling with anybody. She's not trying to rise above the mess, rise above the drama, and still conduct the opening of your store. Try to sell your products, walking around, talking to the people who took the time to come and support you in your reopening. You just want to stand in the corner and not interact and just pout because you're letting your anger get the best of you. So she's absolutely miserable. So Kimmy, I feel like Kimmy was, I don't know what the hell Kimmy was doing, because Kimmy can clearly tell that Destiny was upset and even more upset with seeing Melody. Kimmy could clearly see that. So why Kimmy says to Destiny, so that was nice, as I guess she was referring to Melody showing up. I don't know, because that would just piss Destiny off even more. Kimmy, shut up. So I'm thinking to myself, Destiny, if you're this miserable, if these people are pissing you off to this level, then why don't you kick them out? Why don't you tell them to leave? Well, no, why didn't you have security? You should have just kicked them out. Or if you couldn't kick them out or didn't want to kick them out, then suck it up and conduct business. You don't have to have an hour-long conversation with Stormy or Melody, but at least give some type of attention to your other guests. So Melody and Stormy, they're huddled up together, and there's like a clear division because you have Kimmy and Tisha and Destiny on one side of the store, and then you have Melody and Stormy on the other side of the store. So Melody and Stormy, they're huddled together and they're talking, and I think it was Stormy telling Melody how Destiny was or how Destiny acted when she first arrived, and so then Destiny's store manager comes over to the two women and she's asking Melody and Stormy if they're okay. Have they found anything that they wanted to buy? And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? I mean, did you do that to everybody else, or did somebody tell you to just only concentrate on Melody and Stormy? Like, what the hell are you doing? So Melody and Stormy, they're looking at her like, no, we haven't had a chance to look at anything, and can you please get the hell away from us because we're having a private conversation. Anyway, so then Martell is talking to Miss Vanessa, which is Melody's mother. And Martell is getting Miss Vanessa caught up in the strides that him and Melody have made so far. He tells Miss Vanessa that Melody came over to his new house, and he also tells Miss Vanessa that Melody even invited him to Destin, Florida, which is where they're going to be vacationing, where Melody and the kids are going to be vacationing. So Miss Van was like completely surprised. She was like, oh, Melody didn't tell me any of this. So then Miss Wanda shows up. So Miss Wanda's outside setting up her damn food truck. And I'm thinking, damn, did she show up on time or was she late? Because I feel like the people were waiting for food for quite a while, but I could be wrong. So when Miss Wanda shows up and, she's getting her little area set up outside in the parking lot, Melody notices that Miss Wanda is there. And so Melody goes outside because I believe that this is the whole purpose of why Melody even showed up to this event. If it wasn't for the fact that Miss Wanda was going to be there, I don't think Melody would have shown up. So Melody obviously wants to confront Miss Wanda over the things that Miss Wanda had said about her daughter not being Martell's child. So she goes outside and they have their confrontation. Now, I'm not going to go word by word or who said what. I'm just going to give the general gist of things because of the fact that a lot was happening and it was really hard to really hear everybody and to really know what was going on. So Destiny actually follows Melody to say something about Melody not acknowledging her. So the whole time that Melody was inside the store, Destiny couldn't approach her, didn't want to say nothing to her. But as soon as Melody goes outside, to go talk to Miss Wanda, Destiny follows her. She doesn't go outside, but she sticks her head out the door and she yells at Melody something about, oh, this is my event. You came to my store, but you can even say hello. And Melody was like, I did say hello. Just tell him to roll the tape. And Melody was like, you know what, girl, I ain't got time for you. I got bigger fish to fry. I don't got time for this pettiness. So Melody, so then Miss Van and Destiny, they have some type of an exchange at the door. And I don't even know what they were talking about because it seems like a lot was edited out or the cameraman had just shown up, but it was something going on between Destiny and Miss Van. And the only thing that I heard was Destiny telling Miss Van, you need to worry about pimping your daughter. And that's all I heard. That's all I heard was Destiny saying that. I don't know what was going on between Destiny and Miss Vanessa. So then Melody, she's outside in the parking lot now, right? And she takes out her phone and she starts going live. And one of the producers tells her that she cannot go live because they're in the middle of production. They're in the middle of doing a scene. And the reason why Melody wanted to go live was because when Miss Wanda had said what she said about Melody and Martell's daughter, she was going live. It was during one of her live recordings or live videos on her social media. So then Melody confronts Miss Wanda. Miss Wanda says that she was only responding to Martell putting out doubt on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel, because I think Martell was a guest on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel. And during that interview, Martell had expressed, I don't know, I didn't see it. I wanted to go watch it, but the thing was over an hour long. It was over 1,800 comments, so I didn't have the time. But according to Miss Wanda, and I don't know if this is true or not, but according to Miss Wanda, when Martell was on Dr. Heavenly's YouTube channel, Martell had mentioned that Melody had cheated on him, and that's the reason why he doubted if Sugar Mama was his daughter. I don't know if that's actually what was said. I kind of don't see Martell being that bold to doubt the paternity of his own child on a YouTube channel by Dr. Heavenly, but I don't know. But Miss Wanda claims that's where she heard it first. So when she talked about the paternity of Sugar Mama, she was just responding or just expounding on what Martell had already put out there. So Tisha gets into the middle of Miss Wanda and Melody, because Miss Wanda and Melody, they're like, it's heated, right? They're going back and forth, back and forth. So Tisha tries to get in the middle of it to protect her mommy. And Marceau tells his wife Tisha, that he doesn't want her to get involved. And Tisha refuses. She says that she has to be there for her mother. So then Melody is attempting to leave, or acting like she's about to leave. And Wanda is still running her mouth, but now Wanda is inside the store. I don't know how Wanda got back inside the store, but because they had to separate Melody and Miss Wanda. So Miss Wanda is back inside the store, and she is still running her mouth about how Melody needs to go find her baby daddy. She needs to take a DNA test and figure out who her baby daddy is. Maurice is inside the store with Miss Wanda, and someone else is literally holding the door closed to prevent Miss Wanda from even going out back into the parking lot to finish up her business with Melody. So Maurice is trying to talk Miss Wanda off the ledge, but she can't, because the woman is heated. And Maurice is trying to tell her, you don't need to be going outside. Miss Wanda is trying to pull out her phone, because there was something on her phone that she wanted to show Melody to kind of prove what she was talking about, about Martell not being Sugar Mama's daddy. And Maurice is like, put up your phone, girl. Put your phone away. Don't nobody want to see that. So he's trying to keep her at bay. And my question is, like, why does Miss Wanda care? And I understand she doesn't care about whether Martell is a father or not. She could care less. Her whole thing is she just wants to say something very, very hurtful to Melody, because she feels like Melody hurt her when she talked about, it's probably a plethora of things that Melody has said to piss off Miss Wanda. But in this particular episode, they want to make it look like Miss Wanda's upset because at the last season's reunion, Melody had mentioned something about Miss Wanda's baby daddy, Letitia's father, going into her DMs. And so that's like what's driving all of this anger and all of this energy in Miss Wanda. And that's the reason why she started talking about Sugar Mama. Anyways, but we'll get to that later. So we're back outside. Tisha says she's trying to tell Melody, because Melody's like in her car, but she's halfway out screaming and yelling. And Tisha is also out there screaming and yelling to Melody and saying that she wasn't talking about her child. She was talking about Melody, when, defending her mother, saying my mom wasn't talking about the child, she was talking about Melody, and Melody is like, no, she's talking about my child. And she gets upset with Tisha, because it's like Tisha is defending her mom's bad behavior, by trying to say, oh, but she wasn't talking about the child, she's talking about Melody, trying to imply that, Melody is loose, a wayward wife, cheating on her husband, whatever. But it's affecting the child. And if it's affecting the child, I mean, I'm not saying that it is or it isn't, because I don't know what the child knows, but it could potentially deeply affect the child. And if it's affecting the child, you might as well talk about the child. It is talking about the child, and it's talking about Melody. I don't understand why the two cannot exist in the same space. You're talking about Melody, being unfaithful to her husband, and you're also talking about the child casting doubt on who her father actually is. So you're hurting two people with one stone. So I don't understand why it has to be one or the other. I don't know. So Tisha says that it started when Melody had said that Wanda's baby daddy, Tisha's father, has slid into her DMs at the year before's, was it last, whatever, the last reunion that they had. And that's when Wanda had told Melody to go find her baby daddy. And Miss Wanda was hurt. I feel like Miss Wanda was hurt when Melody said that, because she probably knows what kind of man her husband is. That's why she got a husband and a boyfriend, because she probably knows what kind of man Tisha's father is, and knows damn well that Tisha's father probably did slide into Melody's DM. So at some point, I'm not sure when, and so I might end up repeating myself as I go through my notes, but at some point, Tisha had even said something like, she's talking about my daddy, and when you talk about my daddy, if you talk about somebody's daddy, you just better be ready for the repercussion. And she's talking about how her father is just a really nice guy. Excuse me? So you think that if your father is such a nice guy, then how come you found out that he was sliding into Melody's DMs on a reunion? Wouldn't your father have told you that if it was no big deal and he was being completely innocent? Wouldn't you have already known about that? No, he slid into her DMs. Maybe he just said it. Tisha actually said he was probably just trying to say hello. Tisha, this is the reason why you're in a marriage that you are in, because you want to put your blinders on and not come to terms with reality. You probably think that your father is a saint, and he probably isn't. Just like you think your husband is a saint, who damn for sure isn't. And so all the excuses that you give to Martell, all the excuses that you give to Marceau, you give him those excuses because you and your mom give those excuses to your father. Moving on. So Miss Wanda is still, so Miss Wanda's still inside. Miss Wanda's still fighting to go outside, and Maurice is still trying to hold her in. Marceau tells Melody and Martell that if the kids are off limits, if you don't want them talking about your children, then parents are off limits. And he's referring to, the whole thing about Tisha's father. She wasn't insulting the man. I mean, if he did it, he did it. Why can't she say it? But so Marceau was like, well, if the kids are off limits, the parents are off limit. Marceau, if the parents are off limits, then you owe Miss Vanessa an apology for that Coke bottle thing that you posted. And you spent 2 seasons dragging Miss Vanessa, putting her business out there on Front Street, talking about how she was dating your brother, your cousin, or whoever the hell Mark Scott is to you. Anyways, Wanda goes out the back. Okay, Maurice cannot contain her no more. So she goes out the back door and she makes her way to the front of the building where everybody else is at. And Miss Wanda really, I feel like she really wanted to fight, because she kept on telling Melody, come on then. She was going to fight. She wanted to fight. So Marceau was still trying to convince Martell that Miss Wanda was not talking about his child. And Martell keeps telling Marceau, yes, she was. She was talking about my child. Even Maurice, who was standing nearby, steps in and agrees with Martell against his own brother by saying Miss Wanda was talking about their child. And so Maurice says, because Miss Wanda said, go get a DNA test. Tell Martell to get a DNA test. So she was clearly talking about the child. And so then Marceau says, oh, I didn't hear that part. Yeah, because you're so busy listening to Tisha's lies. Oh, I didn't hear that part. And so that's when Martell tells Marceau, well, if you didn't hear that part, then what the hell are you talking about? Then you don't know what you're talking about. So, get the hell on. So he doesn't want to listen to Marceau anymore. And he actually turns around to leave. Marceau gets upset because Marceau thinks that he's the most intelligent person in the world, and that whenever he speaks, we should all drop what we're doing and just sit there with folded hands and listen to him like, he's the almighty himself. So Martell turns around. He's like, man, I don't got time for this. He don't want to listen to Marceau no more. So he's walking away from him, talking about, you don't know what you're talking about. And Marceau was like, no, Martell says, shut up, because you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're saying. And Marceau responded with something like, well, I can say whatever the hell I want to say. And he got upset that Martell was walking away as he was mid-sentence. So that's when the guys kind of get into it. And, so they're getting into it. Stormy's husband, Courtney, has to hold Martell back. And Courtney's a big guy. He has to hold Martell back. And Maurice is trying to hold his brother Marceau back. And it's just absolute chaos and mayhem. Miss Wanda is trying to calm Marceau down, trying to tell him, Marceau, calm down. And she's like holding him, trying to hold him back. And Marceau is getting really aggravated with Miss Wanda because Miss Wanda put him in this situation. So he gets really aggravated with Miss Wanda and he's like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. And Miss Wanda is steady trying to like put her hands on him to calm him down. And he gets really aggravated with her. And in his confessional, he says there's nothing worse than someone trying to calm you down when you already are in a really heightened emotional state. You're about to fight somebody and someone is trying to tell you to calm down. It really pissed him off. I'm surprised he didn't knock her down. And so Destiny is finally able to persuade Martell to get into Melody's car, and they drive off and they leave. Absolute chaos. Now, everybody involved, I think, is at fault to some degree. Now, let's talk about Melody showing up. Melody showed up, I believe. It wasn't to support Destiny. She could care less about Destiny in her damn store. Melody showed up, I think, because she wanted to confront Wanda. I don't know if they looked at their filming schedule and she saw that there was no event where she was going to cross paths with Miss Wanda other than this one. So maybe she felt like this is my only opportunity to get at this woman face to face. Melody didn't want to do nothing online, like how this crowd roles on Love and Marriage Huntsville. They love to fight, argue, to air out all of their business online. But Melody was like, no, not today. I'm going to confront this woman face to face because she was talking about my damn child. So Melody showed up, I believe, to confront Miss Wanda because as soon as Miss Wanda showed up in that parking lot, Melody was out the door. So Melody came, with drama, violence. She was angry. She was pissed. She was seeing red. So there was no way that she was it wasn't about having a regular conversation with Miss Wanda. She knew that she came there for a confrontation. And I kind of sort of do not agree with that. I feel like that if Miss Wanda is out there online questioning the paternity of your child, let her prove it. Just let her you think that Martell is not the father of my daughter. Okay, prove it. Show the evidence of how he's not the father of my child, because you're saying with a lot of conviction, like you really know facts. So go out there. So prove it, Miss Wanda. Prove that Martell is not the father of Sugar Mama. You could even go a step further and take a damn DNA test, but then that's going to get twisted around and people are going to say, well, why would you take a DNA test if you knew he was the dad? Evidently, you had doubts yourself, and that's why you took the DNA test. But even though you're only taking the DNA test to shut Miss Wanda up, either ignore it, let the old woman try to prove it herself, or let it go. Don't let it bother you because you know who the father of your child is. Don't let it bother you. You and Martell know the truth, and that's all that matters. Let that woman spew whatever hateful speech she wants to spew, because eventually she's going to get tired and she's going to go take a nap. But instead, Melody wanted to confront her. Even though she don't really care for Destiny, this was not the place to do it, because this woman is trying to have an event for her business, and it was just not the place, because you ruined Destiny's event. And so now Destiny will forever remember how you ruined her event. And Destiny will forget about everything else. She'll forget about Miss Wanda. She'll forget about the men trying to fight. She'll forget about all of that. The only thing that Destiny's going to remember is the fact that Melody ruined my event, because Melody is jealous. Melody don't like me. She's so hateful. So she came to my event to ruin it. But I understand Melody being as passionate as she is, because this is about her child. And I understand how hard it is to be calm when it's involving your child. So I'm not giving her a pass for showing up and wanting to confront Miss Wanda. All I can say is that I kind of understand that anger, that level of anger that she was at for her child. So, and like I said, maybe there was not going to be any other opportunity for their paths to cross with the rest of the filming during this season. So Melody, I feel like, she does have some part to play in how this fight began, but I understand her being as pissed off as she is. Miss Wanda, why do you care? And I know that Miss Wanda probably really doesn't care who the father of Sugar Mama is. And Miss Wanda probably knows in her heart that Martell is Sugar Mama's father. She just wants to be hateful. And because she's coming from a place of absolute, pure, unadulterated hate. That's why I feel like Melody should have just paid her dust and just ignored her. And I know as hard as that is, Melody should have just ignored her. She should not have come to the event, or come to the event, show your support if that's what you really wanted to do. Show your support, stay there 10 minutes and then leave. And forget about Miss Wanda. And don't respond, don't acknowledge, don't do anything, because let Miss Wanda look crazy all by herself. But Miss Wanda, I feel like Miss Wanda only said the things that she said because she was pissed off about what Melody said. And for her to try to bring a child into it just shows how low and dirty and evil that old woman is going to go. She was so bothered by what Melody said about her husband, ex-husband, I have no idea, Letitia's father, going into Melody's DMs. She was so bothered by that. And I know her and her daughter spent many a night fuming over that, fuming over what Melody said at that reunion. And they wanted to get her back, and they wanted to get her back real good. And they thought the best way to get at Melody is to talk about her damn children. So that's what I believe. I think this was concocted between Miss Wanda and her daughter Letitia. They wanted to get back at Melody because Melody was, talking about Miss Wanda's father, Miss Wanda's husband, and Tisha's father, and whatever the hell. So yeah, and it's just hateful that you want to bring in a child. Why don't you just attack her on what she said? Just attack her on what she said. She talked about your husband / ex-husband, whatever the hell he is to you now. She talked about that man coming into her DMs. Then respond about that man going into her DMs. Have a response for that. Call her out for lying. Tell her to show the proof. But you don't want to do that because you know that it was true. Because I'm surprised that Miss Wanda not once, from what I can tell, Miss Wanda, if she did, I never heard of it, that Miss Wanda did not push Melody to show those DMs. She should have pushed her to show those DMs. And there's nothing that can be deleted, right? You can call Instagram, Facebook, or wherever he did. You can call them and try to see if you can retreat those messages if they were in fact deleted, because they can retreat anything that's done electronically or digitally. If she had deleted them, maybe she didn't even delete them. Maybe she still had them on her phone, and she should have shown them. I'm surprised that Miss Wanda nor Letitia pushed Melody or called Melody out for and made her show those DMs. And maybe they did online, but I'm not online looking up this, following these people like that. So Miss Wanda is just hateful. To bring a child into this is just hateful. Absolutely hateful. Because I cannot imagine. I don't have, any enemies, but if I did have an enemy, if I did have someone that I was if there was somebody out there that I was seriously beefing with, and I heard rumors that their child was not fathered by their husband, I wouldn't bring that up. I wouldn't want to talk about that. Anything regarding the children, I wouldn't want to talk about, because the children are going to eventually hear about this and know about this, and it's going to affect them in some kind of way. So I wouldn't even want to do that. I would just feel so disgusted, mentioning anything about children, their paternity, and no. Miss Wanda she's like a special kind of evil to bring that up. I don't care how much you hate Melody. I don't care how much it bothered you. And what did you say to your husband? I mean, he should have come on the damn show and defended himself and said, I didn't slid in your DMs. And if you said that I did, prove it. Because she knows. They know. They know that man did that. Because Tisha says, oh, he's friendly. My father is really friendly. And maybe he was just trying to say hello. Girl, are you serious? Tisha, do you hear yourself? These are the kind of excuses that you make for your father. And that's how you make those kind of excuses for your damn husband. My father is just friendly. He was just saying hello. He can't pick up the phone and call her. He's got to go into her DMs or go on her page, on her, whatever you want to call it, her feed or whatever, and just say hello there in the comments like everybody else. Yeah, because he knows that Miss Wanda is going to eat him alive if you try to reach out to anybody on the Holts side. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else to say. Marceau, you don't know what the hell's going on either. For you to say that, questioning a child's paternity is not talking about the child, you're an idiot. And for you to say, well, then Marceau also had the audacity to say, well, everybody that you talk about, every human being is someone's child. So if you're talking about somebody, that's still somebody's child. Marceau, don't act stupid. Don't do this. Not today. You know exactly what they were talking about. Small children cannot defend themselves. Okay, Sugar Mama cannot come on the show and defend herself. So her parents have to do it for her. You know, a grown 25, 35, 55-year-old person, even though they're somebody's child, can defend themselves. So Marcel, shut up. The only positive thing that came out of this was that Stormy and Destiny were able to stand side by side and not kill each other, because they were standing next to each other while they were looking out the window watching all of this craziness go down. I don't think I have anything else to add. I can see why Melody did what she did. I would have preferred that she had not confronted Miss Wanda the way she did, but I know that she wanted to confront her like in a public forum, and she was tired of the online stuff. Miss Wanda, you're dead wrong. I put the majority of the responsibility on Miss Wanda's head, because Miss Wanda, you were dead wrong for talking about the paternity of those people's daughter. You were dead wrong for that. Absolutely inexcusable. No way to justify. I don't care how mad you got about your grown husband going into somebody's DMs. It did not call for you to bring up their child about anything. And Tisha, for you to defend your mom, she wasn't talking about the child. She's talking about the wife. Tisha, stop. Oh my God. Sometimes I'm like, I can see why you and Marcel have been together as long as y'all have, because I just feed on each other's stupidity. Because you don't get it either. You don't get it either. If they would have said that about your children, if they would have questioned the paternity of one of your kids, you would have been saying the same thing. Don't talk about my child. Don't talk about my child. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't think I have anything left to say. A hot mess. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. And if you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.